This is David with the Paranormal Sessions podcast. Some things have been happening recently that haven't happened in years, and that's why I've titled this video, There's a Paranormal Shift, because I believe there has been one. I don't know if it's still happening, but it has started. And I guess the best way to describe it is that one night I'm at a sports bar and I'm coming home and I go over this small hill and I start going down and I see that this deceased person starting to cross the street. And I hadn't seen a deceased person like out in the public in probably 13, 14 years, maybe longer. And the ironic part is as I'm driving down, the deceased person looks back and sees me, and then he shoots across to the other side. And so as I'm driving through, I said, this person is an earthbound spirit. He doesn't know he's deceased, because why would he run from me? Because if he knew he was deceased, I would just drive right through him and nothing would happen to him. So he thought he was still alive. And I guess the best example, and I covered this in a video, I think a long time ago. So I run into a woman, and I've known her, at the time I've already known her like 8 years or whatever. So she comes up to me and, could tell, she's upset, she's been crying some, and she goes, is it true that, you're a psychic medium? I go, yes, I can see the dead. So she goes, well, my boyfriend still keeps talking to me, in my thoughts when I'm asleep. And I said, well, he's deceased, correct? And she goes, yes. And I said, well, how did he pass? He goes, well, it was due to a drug overdose. So she wanted me to go ahead and just right there connect. And I go, I don't know if anything is going to happen, but, I hold on to her hand and I go, I just don't feel anything. I go, now maybe tonight or tomorrow or next week something will happen, but right now I just don't sense anything. So she was kind of disappointed. I go, it doesn't mean it's not going to happen. I go, but I don't want to make any guarantees. So I go to bed that night and I wake up, it's around, I don't know, like 11 o'clock at night. And I see this man, and I don't know if this house it shows for everyone who doesn't know that they're deceased, even though they are. So it's kind of like a vision. So I see this man, and he's way far away, and there's like these waves, and he's trying to swim towards me, but he can't because the waves are so strong. And every time he'd make a little progress, the waves would push him back. And eventually, the vision ends. So I text her next day, say, I'm pretty sure that was your husband. I go, he had like dark brown hair. I mean, because, it's pretty, pretty dark. There's not much light I can see, but I can make out some things. He goes, yeah, he's got dark hair. So the next night, I see him again, but this time he's closer. And I could see he had a mustache and it was dark and all that. And he's trying the same thing. He just swimming as hard as he can to me. And then he gets a little bit closer, but then he gets pushed back. And then he tries again, and he gets pushed back. And so I text her, the following day. I go, I see him again. I go, but do he have a mustache? And, it's kind of dark. He goes, yes, he always had well, I guess you'd call it more like a goatee. And she goes, yes, he's always had that. I go, well, he was trying to reach out to me, but he can't reach me because he doesn't know he's deceased. He goes, well, what do you mean? I said, well, if it happens, like let's say you're in a car and a truck hits you, and you're gone within a couple seconds. Your mind can't comprehend that now that you're deceased. It still thinks that you're alive. So what he's doing when he was trying to swim towards me, he thinks he's alive, so he's trying to act like he's, in here, where we're at. He doesn't know that he's already deceased. I go, and so she asked me, well, how long is it going to take? I said, well, everything I've read, it could be a couple months, it could be longer, it could be shorter. I go, it's not like, there's like one blueprint for one person finally realizing they're deceased. I go, eventually he'll figure this out. I go, but right now he's trying to act like he's alive even though he's deceased. I go, so I can't tell you when this is going to happen. So when I saw that deceased person shoot across the road, I go, this person doesn't know he's deceased. I go, because if he knew he was, why would he care? Because I can't hurt him. I could just drive right through him. It's not going to change anything. But when he scurried across, when he turned around, I could see, like his head turn a little bit. And when he saw my lights, he immediately shot across. So he knows, or he doesn't know he's deceased. He thinks he might get hurt or something. So he's still trying to act like he's alive, but he's not. So, that's the first odd thing, because I haven't seen anyone, like, I think the last time I saw was like a family, and this was, God, that has to be 16, 17 years ago. So I thought that was really bizarre that I'm actually seeing this again. And I started thinking, maybe something's happening. So I go to bed the following night, and I look up in the ceiling, and the dark cloud has shrunk considerably. I mean, it's still there, but it used to be, it probably covered at least 90% of that part of the ceiling, and now it's down to maybe 60% or something. So it's not very big at all. And I still see a little bit of the dark cloud, but that's shrunk too. So I started thinking, there's some kind of shift happening, and I assume, I know it's not due, from me. I don't know if it's the Holy Spirit or God or angels, but whoever it is, I appreciate it. But that was the first odd thing, that I hadn't seen a deceased person in a long time. I mean, it's been a really long time. So I started thinking, maybe there's something that's starting to happen now. So I come in here, and, way up in the corner, there's always evil up there. And sometimes I won't see any faces, but I'll still see like a mountain range and things. And I assume that's where the evil spirits hang out or wherever. So I come here one day, and, I close my eyes. There's nothing. I mean, I don't pick up anything. No mountain range, nothing. I mean, because every once in a while I'll see like a kind of a low-level evil spirit. As soon as he sees me, he just backs right into the dark, and he's gone. I didn't even see that. And I thought, this is really bizarre. Why am I not, I mean, I'm not complaining, but I said, why am I not seeing anything in this room? Because they were always in here. But there was none. And I thought, this is good, but I didn't think anything like this would happen. So I think, and this is just educated guess, I think when I kind of disrupted that cloud, where I put the holy water and I put it up in the dark cloud, I'm sure that wasn't the whole reason, but I think something like that helped. And now when I look at evil faces, I don't care if I'm going to be looking at a demon or whatever. I look at them like, I'm not scared. If something happens to me, something happens to me. I'm not going to worry about it. But I'm not going to, be scared like I was before. I go, it's, I'll do what I can, and if I lose, I lose. And, if I scare them off, I scare them off. I go, but I'm not going to be running anymore. I go, after all the years of seeing these things, I'm not going to back off. And if something happens, something happens. But I'm not gonna worry about that. So some of them, they'll look at me, and I'll just start staring. I'm like, you can look at me as long as you want, but I'm not gonna like be scared or whatever. So I think that's the other part, which I've told a few people. I go, well, maybe that's not good that you're trying to, like push it with evil. I go, you get to a certain point, and you see that in movies sometimes. They say, I'm just tired of being scared. Well, this last time, was I intimidated by that demon spirit? I go, I'm not doing this anymore. And if it blows up in my face, then that's what's going to happen. And I'm not going to come back and say, I shouldn't have done this, or I'll start complaining. If something happens. But I'm just going to go ahead and move forward. And so I think that's what's happening now, is that when I look, when I close my eyes and look, I mean, there's still some in the room, but not much. But I'll just look at him, stare at him, and say, like, listen, I'm not scared. So if you're gonna do something, do something. But of course, I don't engage with him. You never do that. But I'm giving it a look like, you do what you want. If something happens. But I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm just gonna keep on doing what I'm doing. If you don't like it, too bad. In fact, if it irritates them, that's even better. But that's the thing I've been noticing, and that's why I kind of wanted to wait before I did a video. I go, because things are starting to shift. When I saw like that deceased person, now for the average person, think, it's not that big a deal, but it is me when I used to see it more often. And then I go 10 or 15 years, wherever the time length is, and now I'm seeing that. So I think, and I hope to God that I'm getting back to where I was before, because I could see a lot of other things, and not just a bunch of evil spirits in the room. And I give you one example, and this one always stuck with me, and it was one of the first visions I had. I think it was about, because when the evil started dying down, now it's coming like almost in 18 years. After about eight or 9 months, it started dropping a little bit, and I started seeing some of the visions I used to have. And this one always stuck with me. I don't know why, but it shows it's this mountain range, and from what I'm seeing, and I've never been to Europe, but I'm just kind of assuming this might have been somewhere in Europe, in the Alps or something. I mean, it's way up in the mountains. And you see, as the vision gets, kind of zooms in, so to speak, you see this house up on stilts up in the mountains. So I'm sure this wasn't an inexpensive cabin or house. I mean, they had to spend a lot of money to build it way up in the mountains. So the vision pans down, and I see this family, and they're all standing there like someone's ready to take their picture. And it's the husband and wife, and then I believe, and it's been so long, they either had 2 or 3 children, but the children look like from maybe like around 9 years of age up to like maybe 15, but I can't remember who's who now. It's been so long. So I'm looking at this, and I'm thinking, okay, what's going to happen? Because sometimes I'll see visions. And they're like, one time I had a vision of a cafeteria, and it lasted like 10 or 15 seconds, and then it disappeared. So I know someone within that cafeteria is deceased now, but I don't know who, because, there was different people. So like in this one, I don't know what's going to happen. I just see these people standing there. So after about, 6 or 7 seconds, and I don't notice it at the time, but there's this older woman starts rising up behind him, and eventually you see her head, and then she keeps going, and then she's above him, and she's got that gray look that she's an evil spirit. And I assume she probably encouraged their passing on, or tried to do some things like that. I mean, because she had that evil look. I mean, I knew she was an evil spirit, but that always stuck with me on that. Because there was children involved, and not that it would be okay if it was adults, but when you're talking about children, that that does bother me on something like that. But I used to see things like that all the time. Of course, I didn't want to see those regularly, but I'd see other things where it just didn't make any sense. I remember the time I saw it was some kids playing on a bed. The bed was already made, the kids are jumping up and down, and this woman walks in, and I assume that's the mother. And then that lasts about 10 seconds and then disappears. And that's it. And so I know at least someone within that vision is deceased. Now, I don't know if it's just the mother or all of them or what. But that's the part. I always thought I would see like the next, segment of their life. But that was really rare. Only just a couple of times where I saw it was like 2 or 3 visions together. But that's why I'm starting to see things that I never saw before for years, which I'm grateful for. So I don't know if it's the Holy Spirit, if it's God, if it's an angel, they're all tied in or whatever. So the last thing I want to discuss is that the other night I saw the yellowish white light, and then all of a sudden you see like this, it kind of looks like acrylic, floor and walls and all that. And I see this man walk in, and I don't know, I don't know if that's the Holy Spirit, but it's someone, you know, that has a lot of power. And then it just cuts out. So I don't know if, like, because I know there's still some deceased children in my bedroom. I don't know if he's going to help them cross over or not, or maybe someone else. But I was surprised when I saw that, because I haven't seen that for a while too. So, these are all good things happening. I don't know if it's going to last like a week or a month. I mean, hopefully it lasts a long time so I can start seeing more things instead of just evil. I mean, it's kind of funny, but I say it gets old just seeing the same evil faces. I mean, they try to scare you, and when you see after about, I bet since I first started seeing things, I've probably seen 300 or 400 evil faces. Well, after a while, it just like, okay, I saw you, so I'm not scared, so just move on. Now, of course, when you see a demon or something, that's totally different, but I just think there's some kind of paranormal shift, so I don't know. I know it's not due to me solely. Mine's probably just like a 2%, with help, but everything's starting to shift. The room feels a little bit lighter. I'm not seeing anything in here. So hopefully this goes for a while so I can start seeing other things. But I'm sorry this ran a little bit longer, but I appreciate everyone watching. Thanks.